Hey friends, it's Rachel
and Shira. Welcome to our Zoom Out podcast.
We're two close friends who love having honest, vulnerable conversations about life, healing, and all the messy, beautiful parts of being human.
We definitely don't have all the answers, but we have a deep desire to see life from a wider lens.
We're here to ask questions, share our stories along the way, be real with each other and with you.
So if you've ever felt like there's a bigger picture you're not always seeing, you're not alone.
Let's zoom out
together. Is the sky the limit?
Ooh, I say no.
That's how we're starting today.
Yes, there is no limit. Life is limitless.
So today's episode is the one where we surpass our own limitations. And while we were like talking about this episode, I told Rachel, like, I love that quote. Like, we're thinking about the quote of the day, and I was like, I love the sky is the limit. And Rachel's like, no, I don't like that. The sky is not the limit. So explain, Rachel.
I know. I was like, Shira. Well, no, I think that, there's a reason why that is like so popular, that phrase. But I think if you think of it in a deeper way, think of what it means. The sky is the limit, which means limit exists. And I think, obviously, there are limits in life. But I think that when you show up with a mindset being limited in whatever way that means, in your relationships, at work, in social situations, with money, like when you're already coming in with that mindset that this is the limit, whatever, fill in the blank, you are already, putting a ceiling on something where there should be absolutely no ceiling. Does that make sense? So I'll give an example. I grew up, learning about spirituality, and there's a lot of different ways in terms of astrology. There's like mainstream astrology, Western astrology, whatever. And, the mainstream astrology, what's most popular out there, everyone loves horoscopes, especially in Los Angeles. And this is what I always tell people. Mainstream astrology makes you think that things are the ceiling. There's a limit. So it's like, okay, well, I'm a Leo, and because I'm a Leo, I can't do this and that and whatever. Or I'm a Scorpio, so I'm just like that, right? The astrology, right? Sorry, not to call
shouting out the Scorpios.
But when you look at it in a different lens, like Kabbalistic astrology, which is the astrology I grew up with, it really, the whole reason why you learn astrology is so that you understand your natural characteristics and tendencies so that you can go above them and transform them and go above your nature. So what I like to tell people is like mainstream astrology becomes the ceiling and Kabbalistic astrology is the floor. It's like Google Maps. You want to know where you're headed so that you can, make the decisions you want, so that you can change your destiny. I do believe that you can change your destiny, but you can't change something you don't know is there. Does that make sense?
Exactly. And I think that's the whole thing about limitations, is acknowledging it, seeing it, right? And then learning how to build your way around it. And I wrote, sorry guys, I'm so bad at remembering, but like I wrote down like a thing. And I liked how exactly I said it. So
also didn't mean to give the astrology lesson. That was funny.
No, I
actually had
love
nothing to do with this, but it does. It works.
100%. And I think like a lot of people do get like closed off into their box of, oh, I'm like this and this, so sorry.
It's funny because when I talk to people about astrology, they automatically assume like, oh, okay, you're gonna be one of those, or oh, that's a horoscope, oh, tell me what I am. Like, no, it's really important to understand what you are naturally capable of so that you can literally transform your nature. I think that's why we're here. We're trying to go above and beyond who we naturally are.
Yes. So, okay, I'm going to read it out.
Please.
It's what you're saying, but I don't know. Just I
wrote
it
down.
Really good. Sometimes accepting your limitations is the very thing that allows you to surpass them. When you acknowledge what you lack, you stop wasting time denying it and start building around it. Acceptance creates awareness, and awareness creates strategy. So sometimes accepting the lack of something is what actually helps you overcome that lack. Does that make
Wow,
sense?
that does
Is
make
that
sense.
too like lofty?
No, that's good. I also think, like, I was thinking about this recently. I told Shira, and wanted to say it specifically in this episode, but I think about this idea a lot of how powerful, like, our minds are. I had this idea in my head. I don't even know if I read it anywhere, but just this idea of, like, your mind can either be a prison or a playground, and the power in that is we get to decide which one. And I think that's really interesting because I feel like when I was younger, I really allowed my insecurities and my self-doubt to, like, take over me and genuinely control how I show up to things, to relationships, to social situations, because I was so in my head and I was so insecure and I was really focused on my insecurities. I'm talking, like, as a teenager 10 years ago. I wasn't myself, like, I wasn't who I really wanted to be. And so I'm constantly asking myself when I get into challenges, like, for example, I talk a lot about my relationship with my mom and our just, like, effort and our complete 180 shift in our relationship, which has been amazing and for the best. But I constantly came back to the question, like, who do I want to be? Regardless how this person reacts or that person or this person, whatever, like, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up as? And I think why this episode is so important is we kind of forget that we are who limits us. Like, we're the ones that stand in our way.
We are the director of our own movies.
Yes.
We're the directors, the actors, the prop heads, the composers, everything.
Everybody, the producer.
Yeah, we're, like, oftentimes, most of the time, we're the ones that get in our own way. I think all the time, honestly. Even allowing someone to get in your way is you allowing yourself to get in your way. So, yeah, don't limit yourself to your own insecurities.
That, and also, like, I think it's hard not to take things personal when you're in any type of relationship. But it's kind of a powerful reminder to be like, wait, like, I am allowing them to make me feel the way I feel.
Which is then allowing you to limit yourself.
Right. And I'm not saying, like, we're not robots. Like, we're humans for a reason. We have emotions. There is a reason why we feel so deeply. But I think it's really important to just keep coming back to that idea of, like, you are such a powerful human being and you get to decide who you are, what you want, how you act. I think we feel so powerless. A lot of times, I know I felt this in many ways, whether it was in a relationship or in a fight or whatever it was. But a lot of times I come back to this, like, feeling of feeling powerless. And I remind myself that the only person letting me feel powerless is me, because I am giving away my power to this other person or to the situation, to the circumstance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, sorry, I spaced out.
No, you're good. Okay, so, like, I'll give a good example. I have been scared to drive for the longest time.
Yes.
I'm 25. I just got my license. And hopefully I get a car this year. But
by the time this is released, you're already going to have a car.
Amen. That would be amazing. This past year in 2025, so at 24 years old, I got my driver's license. And, for me, there's no shame. I'm scared. But I knew that it was limiting me. I knew that fear of the fear of driving was limiting me. I knew that if I got over it, I would just, like, have this deeper trust within myself. So I ended up getting a driving instructor and paying for lessons. And I remember every single time I came back from that 2-hour lesson with the driver, we could have just gone around the block. I'm not even joking. And sometimes we did. But I remember coming back from that time, like, each lesson on a high, just on cloud 9, like, so beyond proud of myself that I got to face my fear. This weekend, we celebrated a friend's birthday and we went horseback riding because she loves horseback riding. She used to do it as a kid. And I am terrified of horseback riding. I'm terrified of animals in general. Just because, like, I don't know how they're going to react. It's very unpredictable. And I knew that, I wanted to, like, face my fear. I wanted to do this as a group activity for her. And I got on the horse, and, like, within 10 minutes, I was just, wow, like, so impressed with myself, almost like, oh my gosh, like, I just had that moment, like, I'm on this horse, like, it is happening, And it's just, like, so crazy to think that it was me and my mind that was creating this fear.
Right.
You know?
It's like so simple.
Yeah.
I went also skiing recently, and it's so crazy how like I'm so scared that like when I go fast and I'm doing it right, I just get scared. I don't know, like, and then I fall.
It's scary.
But there was one time we went on like a harder slope, and the guy over there was just like let go, don't be scared, whatever. And I like kind of like tried to like Shira, like just do it. And I went fast, and it was so fun, and like I was able to control it and everything. And just that tiny switch of fear is like a make it or break it. It's crazy.
Okay, so you just reminded me something big on like I feel like for everybody's bucket list is skydiving.
Yes.
And if you know me, I
need to do it.
Oh my gosh, highly recommend. I only once. I have a very terrible fear of heights just in general. And for my best friend Estee's birthday, like 3 years ago, I think it was 2023 or 2022, I can't remember. She really wants to go skydiving for her birthday. And I kid you not, there's nobody else that I would go skydiving for. But I really wanted to like be there for her and do it with her and experience it with her. So we ended up driving. It was a group of us. And we drove. It's like a 2-hour drive. I'm on a podcast right now, right? Like I am a yapper. I can literally talk to a wall. For that 2-hour drive, I was absolutely silent. Esty, like every 5 minutes kept looking back like, are you okay? Like I've never heard you be this quiet for 2 hours straight. Cause in my mind, I was like really trying to like, I was so scared. And I kept telling myself, it's okay. People do it all the time. People do it every day. Skydiving exists for years. Like they found, you know, safety measurements. Like it is possible. It is. So for 2 hours, I was just like building that, like, I don't know, this like pretend, you know, oh, I got this. And we ended up going skydiving. I met with the instructor. He was so sweet because you're like attached to somebody. And I highly recommend it, honestly. I'm never going to do it again, but it was a great one-time experience. And so I get attached to this instructor, and we're going on this tiny plane. First of all, he was so nice. I literally said to him, like, I'm so nervous. I might pee on you. And he was the sweetest thing ever. He literally was like, don't worry, that's actually happened to me a few times, so it's all okay. I didn't pee on him, by the way. But it was just like, you know, I wanted him to know it was a strong possibility. So we go on the big plane, and I'm freaking out. It's this tiny plane. And I turn to him, and I'm like, okay, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like, I want to go out. Like, I want to go down. And he like made some like BS line. He was like, well, the only way out is out of like jumping, you know? Out. In my mind, I'm thinking logically, like, okay, but there's like the guy who's driving the plane like has to come down at one point. I knew he was just trying to push me out. But anyways, I looked at him. I said, okay, you have to push me out. Like, I'm not going to jump. And I really wanted to be first, but I ended up being last. So I see all my friends just like getting like just disappear in the air after they jump out. It was just wild. Anyways, point is, I did it. The guy, you know, helped me. He was awesome. It was amazing. And it was one of the craziest experiences because I'm literally facing my deepest fear, or at least in a physical way, like heights and like skydiving, which is like the biggest height thing ever. I'm like facing my fear in the biggest way, and I'm seeing it. I'm like, there's this part where you like pull the parachute and you're just kind of like looking, and it's the most beautiful view of the world ever. But when I went down, the adrenaline hit me. It was amazing. I was on cloud 9, and it just reminded me that like on the opposite side of fear is freedom and liberation. And more than that, there's this like, you build this trust, this very deep trust within yourself when you get to face your fear and like look at it in the face, and you do it and you realize it's not that scary.
Yes.
Obviously, right now we're talking about a lot of physical fears, and I think that is very relatable. But I also think that there are a lot of, when we talk about limitations, there are a lot of like deeper internal limitations, like specifically like limited belief systems. So Shira, I guess my question to you is, what is a limited belief system you either currently have that you're like working through, or that you had and you did something to like accomplish it, or, you know, face it, and how did you feel after?
It's hard. I honestly have a lot of fears. I guess internally a fear would be just a fear of like failure and disappointing myself. Like specifically right now, I have my first paid music gig.
Yes,
And
we're
Rachel
so
knows
excited.
I've been like so stressed about it. And like technically I could just let that fear overcome me and just be like, okay, I can't do this. Like, this is too much for me. Like because I'm so scared. I want to like make sure that I impress them and I'm happy with the result. And a lot of times with music gigs, I'm a music composer, by the way, if you guys don't know. Like, a lot of times it's not what you want, it's what they want. Most of the time, it's like that. So, I don't know. I've just been trying to find the balance of like not letting my fear of disappointing them and myself get in the way of like actually like giving them a final product. And yeah, I think just in life in general, just a fear of not making it, and like, yeah, just need to get out of it.
I think that's super relatable.
And when you were talking before, it made me think of this song by NF, one of my favorite artists. He's like a rapper, but like melodic, like deep rapper. And he came out with a song called Fear. And in the song, at one point, it says, like the whole thing is like a mansion burning, and it says, standing back watching the mansion burn to ash while I hold the gas can asking God if he started this fire. And the whole point is that fear is us burning our whatever it is, and we're like going to God and be like, what, like, why would you do this? But it's really us that held ourselves back and that destructed whatever we built.
We create our own reality.
Yes.
So I think for me, a deep fear or like limited belief system that I kind of just had throughout childhood and I'm like still working through, and I feel like I've said this before, but is the idea of like not being loved or like being unlovable. And it's interesting. I've done a lot of internal work on myself. I've done a lot of transformation, specifically when it comes to my relationships with my family members, every single one of them. But with my oldest brother, I've always felt that a little bit stronger, like that fear, like, does he love me, and like needing more reassurance specifically from him. I also think, he moved out of the house when he was 18 and I was 12. There was a big age gap. So we haven't had much time to like work on a relationship. And in the last couple of years, him and his girlfriend moved to LA, which I'm beyond happy about. And I was like, okay, this is like my chance and my opportunity to like work on my relationship with my brother. And I think also just like let go of that limited belief system that I'm not loved by him. And I know that it's so like, thank God, like our relationship is great. There's nothing he does that makes me think that. It's not, fear is illogical, it's not like based on anything. So recently, funny enough, me and him had a huge fight, and it was the dumbest fight ever. For anybody who has siblings can relate to this. Truly, like the dumbest fight. But what I realized, like probably midway through the fight, I was arguing from a place of like emotion, and he was arguing from a place of logic. And it didn't really hit me until the end, but intuitively I understood later, like at the end of the fight, that what we were fighting about really for me was like all I wanted to hear from him was like reassurance, essentially that he loved me. It was this fight like, okay, well, if I'm going to an Uber alone, like, would you come with me, and would you make sure I'm safe? And it was just like, I think for like 30 minutes we're arguing about stats and Uber and whatever. But I ended up leaving that fight and walking home, walking up to my house, just crying, like really like deeply, deeply crying. I was, taking off my makeup and putting my pajamas on and going into bed, like just crying. And it felt like my inner child was crying. And I understood that what I really wanted in that moment from him was like to give me that reassurance that I always wanted since I was a child, from him specifically, of just like, tell me you love me. Like, tell me that I matter to you. Tell me that my safety matters to you. And I remember like just crying and like talking to God in that moment, like, God, like, what is my opportunity here? Like, what is this whole fight? Like, what is the opportunity between my brother and I with this dumbest fight ever? Like, what is the opportunity for me here? Like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to like give myself this validation? Like, so then I'm not kidding you, after I asked that question, I like brought that out into the universe. 5 minutes later, he texts me and we basically start voice messaging each other. And he could tell in my voice that I was crying. And he just basically was like, I want you to know that I love you and your safety is my number one priority. I want to make that really clear. I'll always be there for you. If there, I will beat up anybody that hurts you. Like, and it got into this very, very sweet point. And I said to him, I said, you know what? I realized, I know it was such a dumb conversation or argument, but I realized underneath it was really just my inner child, like wanting to hear that you love me and that you care for me. And so funny enough, like that fight really, I'm so happy and grateful that we fought and had that dumbest conversation, because it really opened up this deeper layer of vulnerability between us to realize like there is so much love here. And I got that reassurance that I wanted and needed. And since that fight, we've actually had like really wonderful conversations, really open conversations. I feel much lighter. So my point is this, like, even when you have a limited belief system about yourself or within a relationship, whether it's with your mom, your dad, a sibling, a friend, a romantic partner, whatever, when you see that fear in the face and you talk about it and you start to slowly crack it open in whatever way, whether that's meditation, whether that's talking to the universe, talking to yourself, talking to a friend about it, whatever, I think that you start to realize like you truly are always the only person in the way of that fear being true. And you almost realize like 99% that true is not even real. It doesn't even exist. It's like based on nothing, Yeah. I think that when you are able to face your fears and your limitations, you like see this whole new version of yourself that you didn't even know ever existed.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Okay, so quote of the day, again with our boy Albert Einstein. He said, once we accept our limits, we go beyond them.
Yes, that's what we were saying in the beginning.
I was about to say, that's exactly what you were saying, Chira. Yeah. It's so beautiful.
Sometimes you have to, like you said, look it in the face, accept it, and then you can learn how to work around it. And
Yeah, and take it apart, like brick by brick.
Question for reflection. Where in your life are you currently limiting yourself? Simple, but think about it. There's probably so many areas.
I was about to say, I want to add, like, first, if that's a hard question to answer, first just think like which area in my life do I feel limited, and then ask yourself, where am I playing a role in that?
Yes.
Okay, amazing.
Think about it. See you guys next week.
See you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
We hope this conversation helped you feel a little bit more seen, a little less alone, and reminded you to take a step back and zoom out.
We're grateful to have you all along with us on this journey together.
Stay tuned for our next episode.
Bye, friends.